Show, Day 6, live from Ragnar Rookery. Today we are attempting to vaguely add enrichment to the chick's cage, which has not been very successful actually because they don't seem to be particularly interested in enrichment whatsoever. But before we start anything else, I'm going to do the usual little bit of cage cleaning just to get the cage up to scratch. So we're just going to move the camera over here so you can see more chicks. They have gotten a lot more active. Oh dear, the camera's just falling over. They have gotten a lot more active over the past couple of days, and you can probably see that they're running around. They're really very excitable. Oh. Just gonna glove up. Yeah, always be hygienic. Good morning. So I'm just gloving up right now. Make sure that we have everything nice and hygienic for these chicks. All right. So I'm just gonna take the grit bath out. Now, you probably can't see it right now, but I'll show you in a bit. The chicks have actually started to make little hollows in the sawdust, and I'll show you over here in the corner. Let's take you down. There we go. You can see they have a little hollow right back behind the water trough, and they're actually using that to do little sand baths. So what I am going to do tomorrow is I'm going to introduce an actual sand bath so that they can have some actual sand in the cage to wash with. Just trying to arrange the camera here so you can have a good view. So I'm just gonna get some sawdust as usual and cover up all those little poops that they've made overnight. Hollandia 93 says they are taller, and they are indeed a lot taller. We raised yesterday the chick plate brooder. It is now 15 cm up the front on this end, and about 8 cm down the back here. And they're finding that more comfortable because before we had that. Has the video jammed? Oop. Uh-oh. Igor? Oh dear. Igor, we're having some issues with the feed at the moment. Sorry, folks. I'm just trying to see what's going on. It says the encoding was overloaded.
CP's a bit overworked.
That's fine. I think it's back to normal. Okay, we'll just keep going from here. Sorry for that weird little interruption. But yeah, we had to raise the chick plate for them because they did actually get a lot taller, and they were starting to complain about how much they had to bend over to get into the chick plate. So we raised it quite a number of cms. To be honest, on Friday we did the weekly chick weigh-in, and we'll be doing a weigh-in every Friday. And from 40 grams, we had an average of 40 grams when the chicks first came in, but they are now averaging 80 grams per chick. So they are actually doubled in size, at least. covering up all the dirty bits. I tried to introduce this toy ball in the cage for them to play with. And they have sort of played with it because I filled the ball originally with chick feed. But now that it's empty of chick feed, they're really disinterested. The height of the sawdust is actually getting a little bit crazy here, but I have been told to throw in a couple handfuls of sawdust each day, and we'll probably clean out the sawdust in a couple days' time, and I'm just going to use it to spread on my vegetable beds out the front of the house, and possibly stick it in some compost as well. They say that chicken manure is a real good fertilizer, so I'm not going to miss out on any of that. I'll probably take out about half the sawdust here, and then just to give them, and leave the other half in there and just cover it up a little bit more, just so that they have a feeling that this is still their home. Just moving that back there. So you can see, I'll move you back over to look at them eating. I just need to, let me just move the camera. Sorry about the jittery. Production values, people. Production values. So you can see that, and Ursula just gave you a good look at her wing, that these little ones have actually gotten quite a lot of their feathers. Come here. Come on. And let's spread that wing open for you to take a look. There we go. We've got quite a lot of the wing feathers are coming in, and the chicks are actually starting to flutter around the cage. They have actually learned they can fly very short little distances, and it is actually quite adorable to see them stretching their wings and fluttering about. They've also become more active in scratching around in the cage, so I'll show you the results of their endeavors. Is that they are throwing sawdust all over the floor out here, which we're going to have to vacuum up soon since it is starting to get a bit ridiculous. Thankfully, so far they've not managed to throw any poop out, but touch wood, that will never happen. Touch, touch. Anything else that is new for these chicks? Oh, we did have a question on why can't chickens fly. The thing is, chickens can actually fly. They can flutter for short distances, and they are actually capable of flight. Most chickens don't fly because they have had their wings, their pinion feathers cut, and that just allows, usually they cut the pinion feathers on one side so that they have clipped wings, and that stops them from flying very far. But the other reason, and the reason specific to these little babies as to why they can't fly, is that they're going to be very heavy. And we're looking at a live weight when they're finished of about 3.5 kilograms. So, and their wings are not going to grow much bigger in proportion. I mean, their wings will grow in proportion to them, but they're not going to get hugely bigger. So they won't actually be able to get airborne because their general shape will be very heavy on the chest area. And you can actually start to see, if I can pick up one of these. Come here, Ursula. Oh, don't cry, don't cry. I don't know if you can see. I'm bringing her down here. If she stands up straight and tall, you can see that her chest, her chest is actually quite big here. She's got a lot of breast area there, and she's not very aerodynamic as a result. Down you get. Come on, off you get. Shoo shoo. Come on. You wanted to get off. There we go. There we go. So they aren't going to be very airborne. We are here at the Ragnar Rookery of two minds as to whether or not we are going to clip their pinion wings. On the one hand, when they go outside, they're going to have a roof over their heads, so they're not going to have very far to fly, and they won't be able to fly away. On the other hand, having non-airborne chickens might be a bit more convenient. So we haven't made a full decision on that yet, but we hope to come to an agreement sometime. We have started, and we started from yesterday onwards. The chicks are no longer having their feed bin. Their feed bin is only 12 hours now, and that's to prevent them from overeating, because meat chickens don't have a satiation. They don't know when they're satisfied, and they don't know when their stomach is full. So we don't want them overeating themselves to an early grave. As a result, we are only allowing them to eat for 12 hours. So they get their feeder at 9 a.m. every morning, and it gets taken away at 9 a.m. every night, and the light goes out at 9 p.m. Sorry, we take the feeder away at 9 p.m. every night, and the light goes out at 9 p.m. every night. So we started that program yesterday, and as soon as the light went out, there was much crying and wailing and gnashing of beak, a lot of sad cheeping, because the food was gone and the light was gone. I had taken away the sun. But they eventually settled down, although it took them a while. They're sleeping. So they are a little more aggressive now that they're bigger, and you can see that they've started to like murder their nameplate. Now we might actually get a new nameplate and rejig it so that it's a bit more indestructible, but for the meantime they've been enjoying themselves pecking at it, and it seems to be the second favorite hobby other than digging around underneath the water canister. A couple of them have actually started getting tail feathers, which is really adorable. But we are starting to get to the point where they'll start looking like hideous teenagers soon. They're also showing more signs of independence. Yeah, no, they don't feel... Lin Teo says, interesting that they don't feel full. Yes, these are meat chickens. They will actually get... throughout the day, they eat their food from the feeder, and then they sort of get full, and then they go and sleep, and then they wake up, and they eat again. And they'll just keep going in this round and round cycle until, you know, they won't actually stop, to be honest. So by removing the food at night, it means that they have, you know, some time to rest their stomachs and really digest their food. They do have a couple other activities like scratching around in the back, and we have actually tried to introduce some toys into their cage. I have a little swinging perch that's hanging from the top in the middle section, but they don't seem particularly interested in it other than to try and attack it every time they pass by, which is actually quite amusing to watch. They are showing a couple degrees more independence in that they are starting to sleep in areas outside of the chick plate. And I'll show you, we have here Blue Diamond, who is having a little bit of a rest right down here, right in the middle of the cage, next to the toy ball. So they are sleeping in areas that are outside of the chick warmer. So there is that. Don't call them names. The names are actually the official names here. So tomorrow, the colors on their backs are actually starting to fade. So tomorrow we're going to see if we can't try to apply more of the color with a toothbrush and maybe rinse off some of the oils on their back. I might try and apply some of the color to their wings because their wings are actually coming in nice and white. Sorry. So that's all for the Q&A portion of the Chicken Peep Show. So we'll just leave the camera on for the next 45 minutes or so. If you do have any further questions, I will come back and answer them as we go along. And we hope you enjoy the show. Take care and have a nice day. did forget to mention earlier another little small detail, and that is that the chicks have moved from a crumble feed to a longer grain micro pellet feed because they have actually gotten much bigger, and so they're more able to eat solid food. I've also provided a little bit more grit for them to go into their crops so that they can grind it all up. They seem to be having a ball of a time with the new feed, to be honest, and they're very active at the moment. We're going to have to figure out how to rejig the cameras once they start flying a little bit more because, well, it's going to be difficult with the covers on the chick plate on the brooder. The covers will be shut more often. Hello, what you looking at? So we hope you enjoy watching them for the next half hour. And as I said, I will be in and out answering any of your questions. Thanks. Hollandia 93 has noticed the sawdust in the chick's drinker. We have actually taken steps to clear the sawdust out daily, but because they seem to have their favorite digging hole just behind the drinker, I have been having a lot of difficulty cleaning it out. We may return the drinker back to the original position to the right, but I don't think this will make much of a difference, to be honest. They seem to just like digging just behind that area. Just going to move the camera a little bit more because you can see that right there on the side is Summary Bar. Oh, is it Summary Bar? No, it's Blue Velvet having a nap. And Square is also having a nap right round the front. And they've started to nap in new areas and really sort of spread about the cage. I think they want their own space now if they're getting a little bigger. Hollandia93 points out that the water feeder could be hung a notch higher. Unfortunately, it's actually on the highest notch possible in the brooder without actually raising it to the point where it's sticking out the top of the brooder. So there's very little that we can do about the water feeder other than to regularly clean out the sawdust bits, but it doesn't seem to be bothering the chicks in any particular way, so we're leaving it as is. We do wash the water and food feeders about once a week or when it looks like it's visibly dirty. Oh, so shy. Square over here is the biggest chick in the pen at the moment. He is a whopping 93 and a bit grams, and I suspect that he is probably a rooster, given that he has actually taken it upon himself to sort of corral all the other chicks, and he is kind of the boss of the cage. We haven't heard any of them attempt to crow so far, but we don't know if they'll actually get to that age where they can crow, given the speed at which they're growing at the moment. One of our viewers asked about the height of the feeder. It was really interesting actually because we raised the feeder height yesterday. Um, in the morning, we put it on one notch higher. Now that morning, they were actually having to stretch a little on their tiptoes to sort of get to the feed. But by the afternoon, they had actually grown enough that they are now at the height they are, sort of bending over to eat the feed. So it's amazing to see, how quickly they grow, given that they are meat chickens that are born and bred to grow very quickly. But at the same time, sometimes you wonder, what has science done? Hey, don't peck me. Ow. Hey, look at this. This flappy wing. Hey, the big flappy wing.
They really have changed from when they first came here and they were half the size.
Well, that's all the time we have for the Chicken Peep Show this afternoon. We'll see you in another 7 hours for Chicken Tonight, and we hope you have a great day. Stay safe, stay inside, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and have a great day. Bye!